Where many exploration companies stop at 1 or 2 projects and drill for anywhere from 1 to more than 10 years, Almaden Minerals has a different approach. Option the project out to another experienced company and let them do the exploration. And in the meantime, the company can continue doing what it does best, prospecting for the next Fort Knox or Cripple Creek. As such, Almaden Minerals is an exploration company specializing in what is known in the resource sector as prospect generation. And here to tell us more about Almaden Minerals and its many joint ventures is Morgan Poliquin, the President and COO of Almaden. And Morgan, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I want to ask you about your business model, because that's the core of your company is prospecting and generating prospects. So can you tell us about why that's the case?
We focus on that stage because that's our skill set. We're geologists, and we feel that we can create assets through prospecting. So we're looking at areas that we try to choose areas that are geologically permissive, have great potential, and where political risk is low.
So what type of ownership do you maintain in a project like this?
We always retain a royalty interest, but usually we work out exploration joint ventures that begin with an option agreement. So people may earn an interest through spending exploration dollars on our property, amongst other things.
So what's the profit potential in the model then, would you say?
Well, I think the greatest increase in value in the progression from a hillside that no one knows of any mineral potential to a producing mine that's making money is from a hillside that no one knows there's any mineral potential to potentially something. And that's the stage that we're focused at.
You were focused on an area in Mexico. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we're looking at frontier terrains is what we're doing in our prospecting. We look at areas that are geologically permissive, but areas where the potential is under-recognized or underexplored for. And so I was looking at a large chunk of Mexico from the U.S. border right through to Guatemala, where the geological potential, while demonstrable, wasn't well understood. And luckily, from the perspective of the research which I did, it was unknown scientifically as well as commercially.
What did you find exactly?
Well, essentially we're looking at old volcanoes. I mean, volcanoes that are very old, millions of years old, that are within which the hot fluids that you know in hot springs that people know of are also depositing gold and copper. And deeper in these old volcanoes, the copper deposited, and higher up the gold. And depending on how deeply eroded the volcanoes are over time, you might get more of a copper area and more of a gold area.
You're spread out from northern North America, from the Yukon and Northwest Territories, all the way down to Mexico. You've got, it looks like 20, 25 projects on the go. So how many of those projects are in that eastern part of Mexico that you're exploring?
I would say probably about a third of our projects at any one time are in that area. Mexico is our focus. We are, you alluded to, working along the western part of North America. We feel that in terms of politics, western North America is excellent, and Mexico is an excellent place to invest.
Indeed. Let's talk about the Antofagasta then. That's a great deal, actually. The project is early stage, but this is a major company to be doing business with. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, we're very impressed with that group. They're an interesting producing company. They have about $2 billion in cash and no debt, and some operating mines in Chile. And they're looking at a particular style of mineralization called copper porphyries. That's the copper that forms more deeply in the volcano. And they recognized that we had found some new prospects that represented virgin terrain, and they wanted to be involved with that even though it was early stage. And they're spending the first their firm commitment is to spend $1 million in the first year, which is underway at the moment. And yeah, I think it's a testament to the early stage prospecting we've been able to do.
So how do you plan out your new drill programs then from here? You've established that there is something significant there, and now obviously you've got to expand that and to get to the point of a resource estimate. So what do you do now?
Well, certainly our partner is the operator, and that's
Yeah.
the structure of how we do these things. But it's going to require, now that we've done this early stage heavy lifting of having found a area of concentration of mineralization, we have to flesh it out through a lot of drilling. Drilling is it's the way in a market and a technical sense of evaluating a mineral deposit.
Is there any way to ensure an aggressive drill program in a partner that you choose, whether it's for the Caballo Blanco or any other drill project?
Well, I think certainly that is one of the aspects of optioning your property that can be a challenge. Is we endeavor to find partners that share our corporate and technical philosophy to how a project should be advanced.
How do you maintain a budget if you develop a project to a certain stage and then JV it out and move on to other ones? But where is the cash coming from? Do you go to the markets often for that?
We haven't gone to the market often. The reason we employ this model is it's not capital intensive. And so it enables us to be fairly stable in terms of our expenditures. We do have income from these agreements. That is a source of income through the equity payments I was describing and/or cash payments. So, while we're not 100% sustainable, we're very close to that, and certainly in some years we have been, and we're able to operate a very tight budget because, as you say, the prospecting is not a massive capital expenditure on how to move forward.
Right. So what about Caldera? Different type of project as well. What's the story with that?
It's an early stage raw bones discovery in this area of eastern Mexico that we were talking about. It is our Caballo Blanco was the first place we found this kind of mineralization in these older volcanoes, and we found the direction in which this chain was oriented of volcanoes, and we found caldera along this trend.
Right.
And so it's at earlier stages. It's just a relatively new discovery, but we're finding the kind of alteration, the baked clay minerals and the gold and other elements in that rock that are indicative of very preserved portion of a volcano, and with similar potential to Caballo Blanco.
You don't only have prospect projects, you've also got a couple. We can look at your profile here. Elk Gold, you've got a resource estimate. It's high-grade gold as well. Is that sort of a hedge on the prospect generation bet there a little bit?
Well, I mentioned that it's very rare that you find ducks in a barrel, and this is probably, although it's not huge like Purina at this, certainly at this stage in its development, nevertheless, its history is a predecessor to Almaden. This deposit was discovered, and very early on it was clear that there was a high-grade resource, and in fact some direct shipping small-scale mining was done by the company. We direct shipped 50,000 ounces that averaged 3 ounces a ton direct to a smelter without processing on site. And in fact, we still have 1,600 ounces of refined gold, which is part of our treasury.
50,000 ounces of gold.
That averaged 3 ounces a ton.
Oh, okay.
So that was sticking out of the ground and was found very rapidly and readily, and it was prudent to do that. So what we've been able to do there is, we think, add significant value from that early stage development through drilling. And that's a little departure from our business model, but we think it's warranted given the geological risk, which we think is very low. And we've proven that through being able to develop a 500,000 ounce resource through this drilling.
How many hectares is this? What's the size? And how much have you actually explored?
We've been kind of focused on that initial area that had the high-grade results. It's a large property holding of about 15,000 hectares. We have focused in the area because there are quartz veins that